the benefit of our younger audience, will you tell us what your IITG score was? What your rank was?
My rank was pretty good. My rank was 238.
And you chose to do mechanical engineering in IIT Delhi. Tell us why.
Chose to stay in Delhi. I didn't choose the stream, I chose the city, which my family wasn't very happy about. My dad, specifically. The true story is that it was about a girl. Okay, I've said it. But we are 17, yeah. At 17, these things are pretty big.
Yeah, these things are big. Yeah. Is it difficult to explain to your parents what you were doing?
What has happened, because it was very sudden for them. This shift might have been happening in my head. That decision कि मैं job छोड़ूँ went on for a few months. But for them, it was like one day, मैं job छोड़ रहा हूँ, मैं theatre. There was one point in life I was telling you about when I was left with 28 rupees in my bank account, and I learned that day that you can't withdraw 28 rupees from the ATM. वो 100 का निकलता, oh yeah, of course 100 का ही निकलता है, उससे नीचे तो कोई नोट ही नहीं है जो निकलता है ATM में से.
Now, retrospectively, would you have done it differently? How would you have communicated with your parents differently?
Maybe I would have tried a little more. I would have at least made an effort to explain to them and not assume that they will not understand.
My guest is a very accomplished actor who's done really well for himself in the entertainment and film industry. But his journey getting here has been interesting as well. He was a topper who did excellently well in the IIT entrance, ranking at 200 almost, and then went to IIT Delhi to become an engineer. After which he dropped all of it to become an actor, to come to Mumbai and struggle from the very beginning. We're going to find out a little more about how he made those decisions and how he wound up where he is today. Take a look at my conversation with Amol Parashar. Thank you for agreeing to be on my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So, really fascinating story, and I'm going to get to the IIT bit because I think that's like...
Yeah, that's never going to leave me.
That's never going to leave me. Well, it's such a big deal in India to get into IIT.
I guess it is.
Like
That's
kids,
because I realized from all the reactions I got.
It wasn't a big deal for you?
It was, but it wasn't.
What does that mean? I should tell the audience that you're really like you're really like laid back about everything.
Yeah, that's what I was. It is like that. Of course, अंदर है passion भी है कहीं ना कहीं वो emotion जाता है मेरे. But there is, on the surface, it's calmer than usual. And this is again feedback. So what I was going at, and I was going to say that suddenly you're getting philosophical in the beginning, is that most of what I've learned about the world is from the reactions of other people.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a big deal because everybody's saying it's a big deal, so it must be a big deal.
Yeah.
So I think that this is how we learn about the world. So many of these things, if I truly ask myself, sometimes I'm not able to evoke as much emotion organically. But I know that it is a big deal for the world, and therefore it is a big deal for me. So IIT is a big deal for me because it gave me a sense of achievement, at least at that point, at that age. Gave me a lot of confidence as a person. And still does, because confidence again is something that people can also provide you. So when they look at you a certain way, it makes you feel confident. So I know that people look at you a certain way if you say that you're from IIT.
Yeah, actually, yeah. So tell me something. So normally kids start studying at like in 6th standard, 7th standard if they want to do
IIT?
Yeah, the entrance.
Some of them I've heard.
Some of these.
In Hyderabad, I've heard there's a culture of starting very early.
The whole like quota entrance studying thing, right? You didn't have to do any of that. You rolled in.
I did my ऐसा नहीं है यार. I did my hard work. I was a good student. I was always a good student. Good student मैंने you're coming first in the class or second आ गए तो sad हो गए. So it was that.
तब competitive थी.
तब competitive वाले again I would say that when you're coming first in the class, it feels you don't covet it as much as the person who's coming 10th. Right? So you're like, this is something you're used to. It is when you come second or third is when you have an emotion in you. Because otherwise, it's normal है first तो आता ही है लड़का. But 90 क्यों आए, 92 क्यों नहीं आए, 93 क्यों नहीं आए? That is the question. And that is the battle you are also fighting. Because you think, yeah, first आया, but अच्छा no, but then is also like, but you can do better, So I was always a good student. When you're a good student in India, you're either going to be a doctor or an engineer. Right? So you will take up science, and especially if you're growing up in middle class, North India.
Yeah.
कि और कोई रास्ता नहीं है यहाँ से निकलने का. इस सोशो इकोनॉमिक क्लास से निकलने का एक तरीका कि पढ़ाई कर लो अच्छे से. If you're a good student, you have a chance. So it was more of a natural progression of things. I was, like I said, jumping schools, but student wise, class में first wise मेरा चल रहा है. So it is only at the, I think after 10th is when you have to take that call between science and commerce or arts. First आ रहे हो तो mostly फिर science. And I was interested. Like I was, it's something that it's not like it was against my wishes. So I took up science. Then biology I didn't want to take because too much to read, too much to remember. Just like it seems easier. I was more analytical than biological. I don't know what's the word for that. So I took that up. Then so it's also like then I went to a big school. Everybody's doing coaching there. So you're feeling like हम लोग कर रहे हैं, आपको भी करना चाहिए. IIT exam. If you're going to be an engineer, IIT exam तो देना ही है, JEE तो देना ही है. So I also did coaching, 2 years of coaching. So school, then post school coaching classes, which is the IIT classes. But I have been lucky also. Like the coaching class I found, suddenly we saw an ad in the newspaper, some special batch of, it was a famous institute, but they were creating a special batch on the basis of class 10th marks. Somebody from some trust has funded this one batch and they're giving 90% scholarship. And we just walk in, we show our mark sheet, and I'm in that batch. And my parents thankfully only have to pay 10% of the fee, because otherwise this is an expensive proposition. You know, coaching and all that. So that way I've been lucky, and it's a smart batch in the terms of it's got certain kinds of people, so kind of attention by the teachers. So this was just like some things sometimes falling into place. And then मैं पहुंच गया. Again, I was just telling somebody that somebody asked me, do you think you are an intelligent person? Do you think you're a smart person? I said, I don't know. It is only with relation to the world outside of me then I place myself. Then okay, I am better than most people. Somebody asked me are you a good actor? On my face. First meeting, one producer said, are you a good actor? I couldn't say with confidence that I am a good actor. I said I'm better than many. So I realized that my judgment of myself is in relation to the world. I think I'm lazy. I think my willpower is less. My friends don't think so. They think I'm calm. They think I'm strong-willed. They think I have these qualities. It's because probably in the whole scale of things, maybe I'm somewhere up there. But in my own head, I know where I'm lacking. Again, maybe it's that 90 to hai, 92 kyun nahi hai, 92 hai to 94 kyun nahi hai. Maybe it's those neural networks in my head. But so I'm very rarely able to say absolutes about myself. I am a good actor. I am an intelligent person. It's also very immodest.
But I mean, right now there's a lot of this. People do affirmations. People do sort of believing it yourself is a large part of being able to go out and do it, right?
I don't know. Is it?
So whenever you, for example, start a new role and you've done such varied work, what is it like when you start in the first day, first morning? Are you like, oh God, what are the other actors like here? Where am I placed in comparison to everybody else? Or you walk in saying that, you know what, I've done a bunch of work, I'm a good actor, I can do this.
I think everything is happening. At least inside me, everything is happening. I am having all those thoughts about being caught out, and this is when they find out I don't know my shit, and this is where suddenly I'm fail to deliver, because acting is also so personal and so it involves not just your skills but yourself. Suddenly you have to present yourself. You can probably still make a good PowerPoint presentation if you're not in a good mood or if you're not into it, maybe, but acting is it's a lot of work that you have to bring your body and mind into something else very opposed to what you're feeling inside. So there is all those thoughts. There is a voice saying, "Nahi, you've been good always. You're still good." So there is all that chatter is present, is what I would say. So I don't know which chatter is more useful, because sometimes I think I am able to push myself from the not so great chatter also. I mean, it is being a little hard on yourself maybe, and I am also learning now. I am also reading, and and trying to grow with me, my people around me, and people younger than me who are teaching me about being kind to yourself, on yourself. But I would have to admit that at least many of my achievements have come from being a little harsh.
Harsh.
Not harsh, but like...
What I find really fascinating about your journey to and your journey to where you are right now, and obviously you're going to continue to do great things, is that coming from the engineering IIT stock, spending 4 years there, which is a really high pressure environment where you're competitive and you're working a certain way.
It's actually more difficult to get in
than actually get through. Okay. Compared to being an artist, an actor and a writer, where the temperament is very different because you're dealing with the ups and downs and the failures of this job very differently from, say, someone who's trained to be an engineer in a slightly more competitive, high pressure environment. Is that why you are so, everything is that because your wiring is fundamentally different from other artists?
Maybe, and I tried to fight it in the beginning because I usually, there is a tendency in me, inside of me, to try and understand something, try and break it down into formulas I can understand. ये करते हैं, ये करते हैं, ये करते हैं, इन तीन चीज़ों को मिलाते हैं तो ये बनता है. And that's what I sometimes try to do with acting also, with my craft, with my art, which may at some point seem mechanical, and I know other artists and I envy their how their mind works because it's fluid. It's like some colors, they're seeing colors and visuals, and I'm seeing, नहीं, but इसका मतलब क्या है? हम ये क्यों कर रहे हैं? इसके बाद क्या करेंगे? Is there an algorithm to this process? And so in the beginning I used to struggle a little bit. I used to feel like a lesser artist also sometimes. Maybe I should keep quiet. I should not ask these questions because I also sometimes had people like, hey, what are these questions? Don't ask these questions. Don't think like that. So I used to keep quiet. But then I found that is a part of me that I can't erase. That's in fact, that is what makes me who I am.
Yeah.
So
that's what makes
you
special.
Accept that. Yeah, that's what makes me different from other people. And where I can use that is, I can use that in how I write stuff, how I act also. So I learned how to use those parts of me in my craft without having to tell other people what I do at the back end of my mind. But it made me, I fought it for 2-3 years. I thought IIT में मैं बोलता ही नहीं Bombay. एक तो it lead to awkward conversations because it just be like, then it will become about that. क्यों किया, कैसे हुआ, जॉब तो छोड़ दी कि नहीं, पूरा किया, मम्मी पापा ने किया. Your first questions to me when you found out, right? Yes. So I didn't want to have that conversation every day with every person I met. So I didn't use to tell people.
Telling people.
I didn't use to tell people. There was no point, and that was not something that I wanted to carry with me as some kind of badge, because this is completely different from, I am come here for an acting job. So अगर FTI की डिग्री होती तो मैं बोलता, but IIT की डिग्री मैं क्या करूँगा बोल के. So even about that, I got confident when around the same time when I started to accept that this is a part of me that I can't erase, and there's nothing wrong in it. There's nothing wrong. It is an achievement of some sort. And I went back and I got in touch with all my friends from IIT who, again, I had left behind. They were living their own lives, I was living my own life. There's no similarity now, अब क्या ही बातें करेंगे हम लोग. But I found out that नहीं यार ये है, this is 20 years of who I have been in my life. This is my grounding. And this is how I think. So when I talk to like one of my few friends in IIT I'm in touch with, when I talk to them, it's a completely different conversation. Like how we talk about life or work or even my work, about acting. And suddenly it becomes about the science of acting. Suddenly it becomes about, I'm trying to explain to them about what I have learnt. And in the terms that works for them.
We were chatting earlier and you said, I choose films because I have an algorithm.
I mean, that's the kind of word I would say. Somebody else would say some other word or what they would call it. But everybody has an algorithm. I call it, that's an algorithm. No? You look at 1, 2, 3 things and you form a certain kind of formula in your head कि ये चीज़ work करेंगी और 60-70% भी मुझे feel होगा तो मैं कर लूँगा. Of course, I mean, they might not be doing it consciously, but every decision making is some kind of algorithm. That's how I look at decision making.
Do you find yourself also better placed in terms of handling the ups and downs of this career? Because unlike a salaried... better than the people who are in the industry?
I'll
Or differently placed?
I'll have to ask them.
Okay, differently placed. Because as opposed to a salary job where you know ki arey yaar jaake I have to do this. Salary hits my account at the end of the month. I pay these bills and that's how I live my life. Whereas when you work as an artist, when you work in films, there are some big months and big years, and there are some softer, quieter, let's say, months and years.
I like that. Like right now, I know that I like the fact that I don't know what I'm doing after March. We are in Feb right now. I'm going to start a project in 10 days. That will end in March. Right now, we don't know exactly what is happening after March. I have some dots. Maybe that will work out. Maybe that will not. Let's see. Let's read. So there are some conversations. But I think I like the idea. Of course, by the end of March, if I don't have it figured, maybe some chatter will start to happen that क्या हो रहा है सब खाली बैठना है नहीं बैठना क्या करना है अरे काम नहीं है have people forgotten me what's happening do they not want me काम क्यों नहीं आ रहा है कुछ अच्छा क्यों नहीं आ रहा है but right now I feel very comfortable हाँ एक महीना मुझे पता है क्या हो रहा है उसके बाद मुझे नहीं पता so life is still open so it's that openness to possibilities and acting like you said anything can happen like you get a call right now it's on silent right and that's
take the call if the call comes. Take the
call. If true caller says Aditya Chopra, please take it. I've been waiting for his call because this has been my joke, you know, and that's an actor's life. That your phone can ring at any moment, and especially when you're, let's say, अभी तो last 3-4 साल में, I'll be honest ऐसा नहीं है, but पहले तो unknown number देख के एक ऐसा hormone release होता था, because that means किसी का phone आया है, somebody has remembered you, somebody has called you. An unknown number will make you excited, and I know this is a common phenomenon. Maybe people have not articulated it, but an unknown number was excitement because this means somebody has called me for work. It's not a friend, it's not family, it's somebody for work. Now it's the opposite. The unknown number, they can't pata nahi kaun hai. Maybe they'll message if it's work, but I know, and I used to say this that an unknown number was just, and you had to be ready for it.
Give me an example when something like that has happened, where you've got a call out of the blue and it just
most calls are out of the blue only. They don't warn you. They just say like I was giving an example, are you free day after tomorrow? We're going to fly out for this film, and that's how many work projects have been. Like an ad. I used to do a lot of ads in the beginning. That was my bread and butter when I was doing theatre. So ads happen like 4-5 days, 10 days in advance you'll get a call. So you have to be free, you have to be ready. If they want to call you for an audition right now, can you come for an audition right now at 10 PM in the night? It can happen. I'm not saying it's happening all the time, but it can happen. Me being me, I don't want to miss out on that one. I'm playing a game of probability.
Yeah.
This probability ka game chal raha hai. So how can I increase the probability of me getting one? Is to be ready. For that call also at 10 PM, for that morning call also, to be ready tomorrow to go for an important meeting. I've had 2-3 years ago, I got a call for a film saying, they had already signed someone. They are rethinking it. So, are you free? This is dates, check kiya, wo sab kiya. They might want to meet you. Are you free next week? I said, no, let's meet right now. Because from experience, I know that doubt abhi hai aur ye kal parso tak chala bhi ja sakta hai. So this is the window I have. I said, I'll come right now. I'm getting ready half an hour. You tell them I can come with them right now. They're in the office.
Yeah.
And we had a great meeting. Didn't work out because eventually they didn't want to replace whatever. Contracts had been signed and all of that. But I know I had a great meeting because I lashed onto that doubt in that moment. And that person will remember that meeting and they'll say, ye to nahi hua, next time I'm going to work with them. And that I'm working with those producers now. After 3 years, they said, no, I told you we will do something. And it's because of that one meeting. Because I was there, I got that call. There was a possibility I was not in town, I was busy. I said, मैं अभी free हूँ, मैं अभी आऊँगा और अभी मैं इस doubt को clear करूँ. And that adds up to maybe, I can say that added up to this one project I'm doing right now.
So I remember when I was a very young reporter, I used to walk around with my passport in my bag. I used to walk around with my passport in my bag at all times because back then, all I ever wanted to do was travel. And if something came up in the office, they would just turn around and say, do you have a passport? Right? So whoever, some people didn't have passports, but whoever had the passport and who could process immediately was the one who would be sent. So I would have my passport in my bag at all times, which now I realize was not wise.
No, you were
Chance favors the
playing
prepared.
that game of probability. कि ये हो सकता है, so I'm ready for this.
I have passport. It was like,
But हुआ कभी काम आया?
many times. Many times.
See, it worked. Yeah. So you figure it out. So I think it's the same problem solving thing. कि हो क्या रहा है? Like a lot of, it's just, I sometimes look back at myself, in moments of reflections, and मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ? Life क्या है? So I'm living, so I can understand, and then I can tell my friends what I've understood, and they can do it back to me. So that friend of mine, that's what we do. We meet every 6 months. He's busy with his life. He has a startup. He has kids, family. He'll try and take out 2-3 days out of his life every 6 months. We will just sit and talk and thrash out life.
Really?
Yeah, just like it's like an idea lab. दो लोग बैठे
hack out life.
You try to share कि तू क्या सीख रहा है, तुझे क्या समझ में आ रहा है, मुझे ये समझ में आ रहा है, मेरा ये थॉट है, ये भी सही, इसमें ये जोड़ देंगे तो ऐसा, just it's fun, like we enjoy it. It's something probably that satisfies the IIT part of me. Just like collaborating with a fellow problem solver and thrashing out a problem and attacking. We used to say attack. We used to attack a problem. Even teachers used to say कि इस problem को ऐसे attack करना है. That's how they used to teach us. So these terms matter sometimes. They give you a sense of meaning. They have meaning. Attack, surround the problem. So I like to understand कि चल क्या रहा है. So even with acting, क्या है acting, क्यों है acting, अच्छा acting क्या है, बुरा acting क्या है, कुछ लोग अच्छे actor हैं, कुछ लोग नहीं है, क्यों नहीं है, क्या है. These are all questions that I keep playing within my head.
So for the benefit of our younger audience, will you tell us what your IITG score was? What your rank was?
My rank, some of them know. They've researched. They're very smart people who go deep down into internet and they'll find out everything about you. My rank was pretty good. My rank was 238. So that year, I mean, you're the 238th person in
all
the
over
JEE
the
list
country.
all over the country for that year. For the JEE exam.
That's impressive, yeah.
Yeah. Well, a little surprising. I was not expecting to do
No.
it. Not that I was not expecting. Again, it's I don't know what. दूसरे लोग की गलती है, मेरा कुछ नहीं है. Because what happens, you give the exam, you come back home, you already got the answers online. Everything is available online. So you can just know कि मैं क्या लिख के आया हूँ और मुझे कितना नंबर मिलने वाला. So everybody's already made their estimates. Everybody's calling each other, तेरा कितना बन रहा है, तेरा कितना बन रहा है. Somebody's saying, oh मेरा 110, मेरा 105, मेरा 114, मेरा बन रहा है 97. मैंने बोला मेरा 97. So I'm feeling like सब लोग का ज़्यादा बन रहा है, मेरा कम बन रहा है, कम. Now when the results come out, मेरा 98 आया. My estimate was 97. वो जो लोग 114 बोल रहे थे उनका 85 आया. तो ये कैसे हुआ? ये तो मैंने क्या कुछ नहीं किया है. So my estimates were right. I was honest about what I had written, honest to myself, and that's the marks I got. And then ranking is just relative to what other people have got.
And you chose to do mechanical engineering in IIT Delhi. Tell us why.
You know the story. I like the emphasis. You chose to do mechanical engineering. No, I chose to.
After ये stream क्यों choose?
I chose to stay in Delhi. I didn't choose the stream. I chose the city, which my family wasn't very happy about. My dad, specifically.
Does your dad know the reason now?
No, I don't think. It's, I think, too old story now, and probably many good things have come out of it. Good things come out eventually of everything.
Yeah.
So many good things have come out of it. So I guess it's fine. I've never told him. At that time, I gave some weird reasons about I want to be around you guys and families. Yeah, I want to go and and why are you forcing my friends? I don't remember this, but I remember there was conflict. There was conflict about it, and the true story is that it was about a girl. Okay, I've said it. But we are 17, yeah. 17, these things are pretty big.
Yeah, these things are big.
Yeah. Even now, I know even like people much older than me, people in their 40s, 50s, they're also making some decisions just based on love and attraction and
You're uncomfortably drinking coffee. You're going to tell us more about this girl or no?
About this girl, there's no point. I just had a crush on this girl who was gonna be in Delhi, and I thought if I stay in Delhi, there might be something will still happen.
Yeah.
Otherwise, मैं चला जाऊँगा तो फिर तो खत्म हो जाएगा. And that is a reality I was not ready to accept at 17 की.
Yeah.
ऐसा हो जाएगा. कुछ नहीं हुआ. उसके बाद भी मेरे दिल्ली में रहने के बावजूद भी कुछ नहीं हुआ. But I'm glad I stayed back in Delhi because again, because this is what I hear from people who went to Kanpur and Kharagpur, it's very boring.
Huh.
Because, Delhi, Bombay is at least a city that you can interact with, you can go out, you can watch films, there's other colleges, you can meet other boys, girls, जो भी आप festivals आप करना आप कर सकते हैं. Kharagpur में आप क्या करोगे? Pizza खाने के लिए वो लोग Calcutta जाते हैं. So, that's a different kind of life altogether and can be boring. And it also, I think, leads to some kind of exposure when you're in a big city.
Yeah.
You're having all those experiences.
Yeah.
You grow in a certain way. So I eventually, I think it was a good decision. My reasons might have been flawed.
I don't know. I find love is always a good reason.
Was it love?
See, I knew you were going to say what does the algorithm tell you?
What is the algorithm of love? It wasn't love. Like I don't think it was. At that age, that was love probably. That's what I would have called it if you had asked me at 17. But it's more attraction. It's more wanting. It's more not getting what you want. It's more. It's just not getting what you want. And when you're young, you get very, you want to try, you're desperate. आपका self esteem भी उतना नहीं होता है कि हाँ तुमने बोला क्या मैं भी नहीं करूँगा. थोड़ा सा आप try करते हो, थोड़ा तो try करते हो. Everybody has their own and has their own limits to how much they pursue. I know people who keep pursuing for years. फिर उनके ऊपर फिल्में बनती हैं. I had a friend in my batch who was just in pursuit. He lived his life in pursuit of this other person who's seeing other people, but everybody knows in the campus that he's in love with her. He sends a Valentine. उसके बॉयफ्रेंड को ही पता है कि हाँ उसने Valentine Day गिफ्ट भेजा है, वो उसको कुछ भेजता है, वो उससे प्यार करता है, but वो प्यार कर रहा है दूर से. At least I'm not that person. Or maybe that's fine.
But you discovered theatre when you were in college.
I discovered theatre in Delhi, so that's one good thing that came out of it. Walked into a random audition. I saw a poster. IIT Delhi has this festival called Rendezvous, which is in the Delhi college circuit. It's quite big festival. So Rendezvous, English play. I see a poster. I walk into that audition, and the rest is history. I do that play, and then I got hooked to that feeling of being on stage. I never imagined myself as an actor. I was a shy kid. Never wanted attention, seeked attention. Very happy on my own. Used to stay on my own a lot. Both my parents used to work. So was the ideal kid, quiet, shy, good in studies, not naughty, not harami. It's a pyara bachcha hai. So I never imagined myself as some kind of people see some flamboyant children like ये बड़ा होके इसको hero बनना है, इसको ये करना है, इसको dance खाता है, इसको गाना गाना, कोई ऐसा. But I found, I think, some kind of expression. I don't want to use the term loosely, but it was some kind of therapy for me, now I can say, because sometimes it is just about accessing different parts of you and bringing it out.
Yeah.
कहाँ क्या छुपा के रखा है हमने. So through acting, through other characters, through other stories, through plays, I realized that I was feeling lighter as a person. So I used to carry a lot of. I was a serious kid. So out in बाहर से तो ठीक है, he's a quiet, shy kid, but inside there is tragedy. You don't know why. Sometimes you're just born tragic. I used to write like tragic poetry as a child.
As a child.
In my diary. Like it's almost like I'm writing those 50s, 60s ke dard bhare gaane. Like that was the kind of language that was in my head. And and that acting and being on stage, I would feel a lot lighter. I would feel like there's some feelings that I've never felt. And feelings are like drugs. So you get some feelings and like, I want this feeling again. I want more of this. And I think also looking back, probably the first thing that I ever chose, it was just my choice. No one else had anything to do with it. Not my parents, no siblings, no relatives, nobody else telling me. This is something that I have chosen. This is something that I seem to be good at. I seem to enjoy, and this is something I'm going to build from zero. So even acting as a career, sometimes I treat it like that. Okay, I've left behind the privileges of IIT or the privileges that got me into IIT or my parents and the money they spent and वो सब मैंने छोड़ दिया. और फिर मैंने एक लाइफ बिल्ड किया
It's
from
entirely
zero.
yours, yeah.
Literally zero, which is entirely mine, which I can call my own. Like, nobody has any role to play in this. This is something that I come to this city knowing zero people, and this is something I again say confidently now. पहले नहीं बोलता था. I knew zero people in this city. No college senior, no friend, no cousin, no दूर का रिश्तेदार, no one. Zero. And you walk into a city, and then everything I have now, whether it's friends or a life or whether it's financial, emotional, mental, fans, is सब मैंने. मैंने कमाया, मैंने बनाया, मैंने किसी से कुछ नहीं लिया. थोड़ा सा सेविंग्स में लेके आया था, जो मेरे जॉब का सेविंग्स था. That is something that I carried from that previous life. So acting gave me this identity. I think that I didn't have. Like, I wouldn't imagine this person. 20 years ago, if somebody asked me, I would imagine this person sitting here, giving an interview, talking like this bottle. Like, when I watch myself, this is the person that I have worked on. And that's happened. Acting has a big part to play in that, because you learn about yourself, you learn about the world, and the more you learn about yourself, you can work on it and grow in the areas that you want to. This person sitting here giving confident answers and making jokes, and this is not a person I would have imagined 20 years ago. I built this person.
So you came to the city to do theatre?
Yeah.
And tell us what that was like when you started off in theatre. What it was like when you first came to the city?
It was quite liberating, because one year I worked after college, a campus placement corporate job, which takes getting used to.
Yeah.
Because college is also free, especially residential campuses. You are king of your own time and can do whatever. Go to classes, not go to classes. 4 years, लोग 6 साल भी पढ़े रहते हैं वहाँ पे, निकलते ही नहीं, उनका निकलने का मन ही नहीं करता है. And I know people who are still attached to that campus. Like, say 20 years later, you still can't keep talking about IIT. भूल जाओ उसे. But वो होता है, and then you hate that job because you just hate the idea of a job and having to wear a shirt every day and clean clothes. Press karo, good morning, good afternoon, how was your weekend? It's a होता है, which people are still getting used to. So when I left that and I came here, it was quite liberating. Suddenly again I was king of my own time. I decide if I want to do this, if I want to wake up in the morning, if I want to go for a rehearsal, it's all mine. Nobody's forcing me. There's no rules. Met a lot of interesting people, different kinds of people. In Bombay, in theatre, it's just like from all over the country and different school. It was just eye-opening, because वो first time था. IIT में भी था थोड़ा सा, because people from all over the country, but still similar in some way. इधर तो wild है, you know, in this side like कुछ कोई भी मिल सकता है आपको, किसी भी तरह का इंसान मिल सकता है, and that still happens, and that is something that I think I really enjoyed. I latched on to that energy. I was learning a lot suddenly. I was working in plays, doing rehearsals, and professional directors, and talking about acting and writing and performing. I was doing plays and drinking. That's all I was doing in the first couple of years.
Is it difficult to explain to your parents what you were doing?
Yeah. I mean, because what do you say? Very simple things. कि हाँ क्या किया आज, क्या किया, audition दिया, ठीक है. फिर then next day मैं बस घर में क्या हुआ audition, कौन सा audition? अरे वो audition दिया. दूसरे दिन वो क्या हुआ audition का? I said I give 4 auditions every day. I forget about them. You know, I mean, but they are latching onto something. They're trying to latch onto my life. कि चल क्या रहा है इसकी life में? इसके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है? Is he happy? Is he not happy? What is he doing? Does he need anything from us? किसी ने इसको कुछ पिला तो नहीं दिया है? किसी ने कोई सपने तो नहीं दिखाए? क्या चाहिए? What has happened? Because it was very subtle for them. This shift might have been happening in my head. That decision कि मैं job छोड़ूँ went on for a few months. But for them it was like one day मैं job छोड़ रहा हूँ, मैं theatre. So for them it was like ही क्या हो गया? What is this bomb that is dropped on us? So it was difficult to explain. I didn't have the energy. I didn't have the words. I didn't know how to explain to them. So I would avoid those conversations. So our relationship more or less became very functional. जिंदा. उससे ज़्यादा मैं बता नहीं सकता कि क्या बताऊँ, कहाँ रहता हूँ, किसके साथ रहता हूँ. They didn't know for few years. They didn't know who I was living with, where I was living exactly. हाँ है, हाँ उसके साथ, हाँ some vague. They were trying to latch on to me. कुछ तो पता चला. The first time they visited me, I think, was maybe 7 years into Bombay. क्योंकि मैं भी confident बोला कि आज ये मेरा घर है, यहाँ पे एक बेड है आपके लिए, ये है. लेकिन come in. So I guess, yeah, I made them suffer.
Would you have, I mean, now retrospectively, would you have done it differently? How would you have communicated with your parents differently?
Maybe I would have tried a little more. I would have at least made an effort to explain to them and not assume that they will not understand, because they have surprised me. Now, especially in the last few years, they've surprised me a lot. It's like many things I thought they will not understand or accept. They're like,
I read this somewhere that we should all give our parents opportunities to surprise us.
Yeah, and
a lot of times in Indian families we don't. We just assume they won't understand.
Yeah. That's true. So I assume that ये तो उनको समझ नहीं आएगा या वो accept नहीं करेंगे. ये चीज़ I know उनके values क्या हैं, तो उनके values में fit नहीं होगा. But and I'm not saying that everything they're suddenly like they're cool about anything in the world, but they have surprised me. Like where they come from, who they were 10 years ago, 15 years ago, to who they are now. They're in Bombay now. They moved to Bombay.
Oh, they moved to Bombay.
They moved to Bombay. So we're not living in the same house. That is something that we both parties agreed upon. Yeah, वो तो नहीं हो पाएगा. That's too much to ask for. But they're in Bombay. We're 10-15 minutes away. I mean, given the roads are dug up all the time, it's 40 minutes away, 15 minutes away. But yeah, and now they see my life, and I don't think there's any part of my life which is hidden from them now. They may or may not approve of it, but they're like, also I'm old enough now, kya hi bolenge? They can just give make some sounds of disapproval, but many are things that I didn't think, like I said, I didn't think that would go down with them. And they surprised me. And we talk about this, and I appreciate it. I say it out loud. I say, no, I appreciate this. They बोलते कि देखो हमने भी तो किया ना. I said, हाँ, and I appreciate that, because मुझे भी लगा था कि आप लोग नहीं समझोगे. But you are trying, and you are trying to move with your kids, especially. And my realization was that where I am also is because of them. And I make this metaphor, this analogy, that they threw me away. Like they said to both of you, jao, dur jao. Go to these schools. We'll send you to schools we can't afford. We'll send you to places. This thing, go to this, and we are culturally come far from them because they pushed us there. They didn't realize that we'd go so far. And suddenly like, Indian parents, go jata nahi hai, pata nahi. But at some point in life, that switch happened. Man, it's because of them only. I went to the schools I went to, or whatever happened, because they were pushing us. They were saying, go. Because you observe the rest of the family also. So now, in the last 2, 3, 4 years, after the pandemic also especially, I think there's some kind of reconnection.
Yeah.
Now we're also in the same city, so see each other more, have conversations beyond just functional, khana khaya, kab aayega, Diwali, happy Eddies. So it is, so I am trying to make up for all those years of suffering that I might have put them through.
Also, when you obviously broke off on your own, you came out here with a certain amount of savings. How long did that last?
Savings, Bombay mein kuch nahi, 3 mahine mein khatam ho gaya. Kuch nahi bacha. Also, yeah.
At what point did you run out of money?
Yeah. I mean, I was always running on bare minimum. Next महीने का rent है, ज़्यादा 2 महीने का rent है, उतना होता था. There was one point in life I was telling you about when I was left with 28 rupees in my bank account, and I learned that day that you can't withdraw 28 rupees from the ATM. वो 100 का निकलता, oh yeah, of course 100 का ही निकलता है, उससे नीचे तो कोई नोट ही नहीं है जो निकलता है ATM में से. So, and I used to live with my friends in Vadala. They had my friends from college who had jobs. So, दिन भर रहते रहते, they would go to work. मैं कहीं हूँ नहीं हूँ. Sometimes I would just like stay with other people, also stay over. I was just living this vagabond life. Rehearsals है, फिर उसके बाद कहाँ जाएंगे पता नहीं, किसी घर पे पार्टी होगी, कहाँ पे पिएंगे, कहाँ सो जाएंगे, किसी को कुछ नहीं पता है, चल जाएगा. I found some people and I'm like living in that community almost. And nothing that I have my friend's place in Vadala. So I was there. I didn't step out for 3-4 days because Vadala में रिक्शा भी नहीं आता है. You have to take a cab to go anywhere, and that's like minimum 20-25 bucks. It's kuch nahi hai. I was sitting at home waiting for this one check that was supposed to come. First ad, I think, 7,000 rupees I had earned from that ad, and I was trying to chase the producer, call the AD to get my money. That was also my learning. Salary तो आ जाती है अपने आप. जब आप जॉब करो सैलरी तो एक उस डेट को आ जाती है. यहाँ पे पैसे मांगने पड़ते हैं. मेरे पैसे जो मैंने कमाए हैं प्लीज़ मुझे दे दो. तो उसके लिए काफ़ी पीछे पड़ा था और मेरा फ्रस्ट्रेशन अब भी बढ़ रहा था. And I think at some point my mother kind of figured on some call that something is wrong. And she pushed me and said, "Yeah, कुछ नहीं पैसे का." And probably after I got the money is when I told her. And she was very upset. She was very sad. And she was like, and then I understood rightly so. At least I understood the emotions. कि हम किस लिए हैं? ऐसे इतना क्या करोगे यार? मतलब ऐसा बिल्कुल ही तुम तो कट ऑफ ही कर दिया है और she felt hurt, she felt sad. Like हम किसके लिए कर रहे हैं? हम किसके लिए कमाते हैं? क्या कर रहे हैं? क्यों कर रहे हो ऐसा? But I had my reasons. It was my own personal egoistic reasons. This is something I'm going to stick with because especially after quitting my job and putting them through this, they have done enough. In my head, I told them they've done enough. They've put you in the best schools that they could. They have coaching, ये वो IIT भेज दिया है. उन्होंने अपना काम कर दिया है. They have been successful parents in their world, and whatever is happening right now is my choice. So I'm not going to be a burden on them. My choice is not going to be a burden on them. So this I told myself, पैसे तो मैं कुछ भी कर लूँगा, मैं कुछ जॉब कर लूँगा, मैं यहाँ चला जाऊँगा, वहाँ चला जाऊँगा, बट पैसे नहीं लूँगा. दोस्तों से लिए एक दो बार, my IIT friend, like वही जब I think I had to take from my friend at that time. Once or twice I had to do that. But more or less कुछ ना कुछ निकल जाता था. वो कहीं से कुछ 5,000 10,000 ये वो थोड़ा सा लाइफस्टाइल कब करते थे. ये सैंडविच काट के खा रहे हैं me and my then girlfriend. तो एक now it seems very seems like a film कि अच्छा वो भी था यार. how are we living through those times? कुछ नहीं है. 2 actors out of work living in one house trying to say कि आज कोल्ड कॉफी पिए क्या? पैसे हैं ये फिर वो अगले महीने का आज पी लेते हैं फिर 3 दिन तक नहीं पिएंगे. So it's yeah, these are funny stories, but उन टाइम पे कभी-कभी and even if you don't realize it leads to some insecurities, some frustration. I remember one audition I went to when the casting director was asking just sometimes some auditions like who are you, what is your life like? It's like how can 2 struggling actors live in the same house? You don't know what that's like, but it is something because you're एक तो अपनी आपकी बैटल चल रही है लाइफ में इंटरनल एक्सटर्नल.
लग बाय चांस वाला स्क्रिप्ट हो गया.
लग बाय चांस वाला हो गया. हाँ बेबी हाँ स्लाइटली सैनिटाइज्ड वर्जन ऑफ माय स्ट्रगल हो जाता है उसके साथ बड़ा इजीली. But there's lots of thousands of people who live that life, and I haven't even. This may sound all dramatic, but this is much better than what many people have. Thousands of people have. I remember shooting in one house, one bungalow in mud or some Malwani village. One half of the bungalow, and the other half was a PG where there were 3 rooms and 28 boys living in those. Rooms in like bunker beds and they were all actors. And he saw me shooting. Come. I was not very famous, but it shoots like actor काम कर रहा है उनके साथ. So इसको कुछ तो पता हो उसे. He want to talk to me. इसे क्या नहीं है ये. Somebody's been there for 3 months, 4 months. तो cycle भी ऐसा है. कैसे नहीं सालों से रह रहे हैं because they come and they're paying for the bed.
Yeah. So you can only stay for
they're surviving, not surviving. Like कोई 15 दिन रहता है, कोई 3 महीने रहता है, कोई 4 महीने रहता है. किसी को कोई सीरियल में काम मिल जाता है, कोई नहीं मिलता है, कोई चला जाता है, कोई एक ऐसा एक रोटेशन चल रहा है. It's like a hostel. And then you look at it, I said, I wouldn't have been able to do that. Yeah. I asked older actors. I was shooting with Manoj Bajpayee. जब मैं बॉम्बे आया तो सर मेरे पास ईमेल था, मेरे पास सेल फोन था. I can text someone. Even if I never get a reply, I can text someone. I can send an email. I can send my pictures. What were you doing? He said, कुछ नहीं, हम लोग स्टूडियो के बाहर खड़े रहते थे. कोई गाड़ी गुजरेगी, उसमें से कोई देखेगा, कोई बोलेगा, खिड़की में से फोटो फेंक देंगे गाड़ी की. और क्या है? और रात में या फिर मोहल्ले में एक फ़ोन है, वहाँ पे सबके लिए वहीं कॉल आता है. तो शाम को जाके सब पूछते हैं किसके लिए फ़ोन आया, किसके लिए नहीं आया. मैसेजेस लेता है वो, कुछ पैसे लेता है, आपके लिए मैसेज लेता है. मैसेज भी क्या है, कल सुबह 9 बजे फिल्म सिटी. क्या है, क्यों है. So I don't know if I would have been able to do that. Maybe.
Maybe, if you had to.
Yeah.
When you did the Wildstone Kunal ad, did you think it was going to be a
No,
thing?
I didn't think so. I thought it was a normal ad कि हाँ डिगो लगाया लड़की मिल गई. ये तो होता है.
यही होता है.
But it became what it became, and then there was a sequel. The first time we had a sequel to an ad. And it was not a planned. It was not like a series of ads planned in advance. They came up with a part 2. I was like, oh, now you're pushing it, I think. Mother, I'm not sure. But then that also became what it became.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, sadly so, I think, I don't want to be boastful, but people know Kunal more than the brand's name. Like some people come to me and say, hey, that fog guy, no? I know what you're saying, but not fog. And then, and then it's very interesting how that becomes how people look at you. Chitwan, Kunal, they also define you because the world starts to see you like that. And it's very interesting how you also become, little bit of us becomes what the world sees us as. I think that's my takeaway, my learning from life. So who we are becoming is also what we are getting from the world. So I think you know how some actors say कि आपके traits रह जाते हैं, वो यही है क्योंकि वो दुनिया आपको
people start to see you
like that. They treat you, they give you that energy as if you are Chitwan and you are Kunal and you are just living up to that energy कि हाँ I'll give you what do you want, I'll be Kunal, मैं फोटो खिंचाऊंगा तुम्हारे साथ. And it's not fake, but it's a natural response to the energy that you're getting. So I think this also defined how people see me, the kind of work I got, because suddenly I became this. Kunal is a guy who can patao anyone. That became the image of Kunal. Growing up, I never saw myself as a very attractive guy. I was not charming or attractive, or I couldn't talk myself, have a long conversation and confident conversation. I was a nerd in the world. I was an IIT boy who DU girls were not talking to. These boys have come from IIT. इनसे बात नहीं करनी है. सब चश्मा क्यों लगाया तुमने? वहाँ तो सब चश्मे लगाते हैं. Like, you're tongue tied. You don't have an answer. So I think there is internal work, and then there is things like this that happen to you, the characters that happen to you.
So how do you reconcile then the fact that you've done so many different characters and some portion of all of it
and I like
sort
that.
of settles in you.
One way of looking at it is that it's all inside me also. It's not like वो सब है, because I have been different people. I was telling you about how I went to different places, and because I don't come with a pre-designed personality कि मैं ये हूँ और यही आदमी यहाँ से वहाँ हर वर्ल्ड में जंप कर रहा है, वो नहीं है. मेरे को कॉन्फ्लिक्ट, मेरे को ऐसा नहीं करना है. तो आई एंटर अ वर्ल्ड, आई फाइंड व्हाट माय प्लेस इन दैट वर्ल्ड इज, एंड आई बी दैट पर्सन. Very stark example of that is I am in class 11 and 12th. I am in this big school, BPS Arkepuram, Delhi. I'm not where I'm coming from. This is slightly culturally shocking for me. उसमें but ठीक है, आप साइंस सेक्शन में हो, वहाँ पे कुछ ऐसा थोड़ा क्लासिज्म भी है, तो साइंस में एबिलिटी सेक्शन है, तो एबिलिटी सेक्शन में हो तो assume नहीं है ये नर्ड्स हैं, इनसे कोई ऐसी बात नहीं होती, तो IIT वाले. So you're uncool in that world. The same person, I haven't changed. The same person suddenly goes to IIT, a few kilometers away. Then there, just the world is so different that you are the cool person. You are from Delhi, you speak a certain way, you dress a certain way, you have friends and your
outside
cars,
of the campus,
outside of the campus, girls also. I saw the girl on a bike. So you have not done anything. And I played that part. In IIT. It's like, you want this, I'll give you this. I'll be this cool guy, theater, बाल बढ़ा लिए, दाढ़ी बढ़ा लिया, cool कपड़े पहन रहे हैं, घूम रहे हैं. And now, so like some of my school friends, now they'll look at my interview and they're like, ये कौन है भाई? Who is this person? This guy sitting on the back bench quietly. Again, not a flamboyant person, not a person seeking attention or any kind of performance, dance, acting. कुछ लोग कहते हैं ना, ये तो hero बनेगा बड़े होके, या ये actor बनेगा. So like, so I think I've been different people, and I like that idea. I've never had a gang of friends. This is my gang. Because that limits who you are.
What's been your biggest learning so far?
Oh, yes sir. Like about work, about life.
Anything.
Many learnings. I'm learning, I think, every day. My most recent learning, I think, is, I don't know how to put it. There's many things suddenly going around my head. I won't say, I think I'm taking on the pressure of biggest learning. So one of the learnings recently which comes to my head is that other people's feelings are not your feelings. And this has shifted my life in a certain way. This is very recent. This is suddenly one day.
Explain that to me.
Right now I'm forming this theory that what we end up doing unknowingly as human beings is that we get into a feelings game. Oh, you're throwing anger at me, I'll throw. Most conflict in relationships, for example, whether romantic or not. You know, कि लड़ाई होती है, वो हो जाती है, आपको पता भी नहीं चलता, वो हो गई है, फिर हम सोचते हैं क्यों लड़ रहे थे? It's because you get into that game. Suddenly somebody throws a feeling at you, you have this urge to react with the feeling. कि oh, why are you upset with me? I can also be upset with you. You are complaining, I can also. So there is feelings have this tendency to follow each other. कि उसकी feeling ना जीत जाए उससे पहले मैं अपनी एक feeling, I don't know, like I'm still forming, trying to articulate my theory, but this idea of suddenly, like, you know, this is, if you're feeling sad, you are feeling sad. I can accept that, but I don't have to get sad. I don't have to compete with my own feeling.
I don't have to match it.
I don't have to match it, or I don't have to try to ally it with some other feeling. I can just ally it by acknowledging that, hey, I understand why you're feeling sad. But I don't have to suddenly play that out. Oh, you're feeling sad at me, something about I have done. No. There is, especially in close relationships, I think, this happens a lot because we take everything very personally. कि ये sad है, मैंने कुछ किया तो नहीं है, अब ये मेरी वजह से sad है, क्या मैं गलत हूँ या मैंने कुछ गलत. There is, yeah. So just like I've tried to consolidate that in one sentence by reminding myself that other people's feelings are not my feelings. I don't know if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
But it has been helping me deal with other people's feelings better.
I read this thing about how when you're dealing with another person and they're behaving in a certain way, and you are not the upset party. In any conversation, there's someone who's going through something, and you're the person who's on receiving this information. If you unpack what this person needs from me right now, as opposed to just responding off the cuff, which is effectively what you're saying. Someone might just need you to listen. Someone might need you to solve the problem. Someone might need just comfort. And, you know, so you don't have to
be able to decode what is needed. You have to be objective. You know, you have to objectively look at the situation and think, ho kya raha hai? And emotions, feelings can come in the way of objectivity. So if you start playing with your own feeling, let me also bring a feeling into this game. Are you angry? I can also be angry. This happens. And you later realize, just because it's like you felt threatened by the other person's feeling somehow. Like some part of you felt like this is about me. You know, she's sad because I've done something. She's upset. And then your mind starts thinking of what can you be upset about?
Yeah.
I can also be upset about many things. Yeah. I will also remind you of the thing you did 3 years ago. So there is a part of that mind which I've learned to quieten it down. And this is very recent. This is a very recent exercise. This again, I'm talking to my friend about it. My
These
idea
conversations
friend.
are sounding very fascinating.
My flatmate, I think one day he came and sat with us, and he also enjoyed. 1-2 घंटा उससे बात किया. Then he went to sleep. Then he woke up in the middle of the night. We are still talking. Then he woke up in the morning. एक बार बोला, पागल हो जाओगे आप दोनों क्या कर रहे हो? रुक जाओ. But we are having so much fun. Also, you know, because we have got these 2 days. And he's gonna go back and then live his life. I'm gonna live my life. Probably we'll connect on a call. And we have some quick weird calls, 5 minutes, if we need to talk to each other or kuch important hua hai. Otherwise it's like this. I just went to Goa with them 2 days. First college friends ke saath trip after college. And that's all we did. We just sat around and talked about our respective ideas and learnings and theorems and formulas. जैसे मैंने ये बताया तो दूसरा कुछ और learning लेके आएगा ना. मैंने ये सीखा life से कि ये होता है. So I don't know how actually useful it is, but it's a lot of fun. And there's a lot of purging.
Yes.
There's also a lot of understanding. Just sometimes you just, certain kind of thoughts you have, you just want to put them out in the world. And not have somebody like make a face.
Yeah.
But that also happens. Sometimes I say these kind of things in some parties and I can see a little bit of, I'm just gonna get a drink. I was expecting a funner conversation. I said, but this is fun for me.
Are you a parties kind of guy? Do you go to the parties?
I can be.
Ah.
Yeah. I have my days.
Okay.
I can be a good party thrower also. I think I'm a decent host. I like to throw parties. I like to, and this is somebody else put this in words for me, which I agreed with. Is like I like to show people a good time. I like it when they go back and say, "Amol ke ghar pe best parties hoti hai. Amol ke ghar pe bahut maza aata hai." I just enjoy that reputation.
Coming back to your career, your first film was a big film.
Yeah. Yash Raj.
Yash Raj. You did Rocket Singh. You were the best friend.
I was the best friend.
What was that like? What was your first experience like on set?
It was quite surreal because I was not expecting that. I was not even wanting that, technically.
Okay.
I had just come to Bombay, I was doing plays. It was not like I hadn't formed the dreams of films yet. This was, in fact, probably the beginning of that formation. I was just doing my plays, but audition, out of curiosity, people are going, taking, come with me, I'll show you, or somebody's calling you. One day I get a call saying, you want to test for TV? I didn't know what the right answer was. Yeah, okay, I'll come. Yash Raj was making a lot of TV shows at that time. So they were testing a lot of people for TV. And theatre कि कहीं लिस्ट में नाम गया होगा नाम में नाम so I walk into that office. I don't ask any questions. They give me a script. They look at me. I meet Abhimanyu Ray, who's my first casting director, and I remind him that you were in Delhi, sir, and I met you for this film called Teen Patti. Leena Yadav. We were in Delhi testing for college. It was a college film. And 3-4 of us boys had come from IIT and come for audition because some kids बोला कि आप engineering college दिखा रहे हो, it is it's set in a world like IIT कि मतलब ये सब कुछ ऐसा whiz kids हैं और वो पत्ती होता कुछ counting करते हैं so they tested 3-4 of us. Oh, you're from IIT, oh yeah, we didn't remember, but he was polite enough to say yeah, okay, how are you? And then based on whatever he saw of me, they gave me one scene and I did that scene. I came back next day, I got a call saying you're shortlisted. क्या होता है ऐसे कर come again to audition. I said, oh. Then I go and then they give me another scene of the same character. The earlier day there was a scene about कैसे मैं first आया हूँ और मेरा दोस्त फेल हो गया ना फिर पढ़ाई कर लिया क्या कर रहा है यार मैं कितनी बार बोला तुझे 39 आया कुछ नौकरी भी नहीं मिलेगी. नेक्स्ट डे आई गो देयर उसी का ही कुछ नेक्स्ट सीन है कि उसकी जॉब नहीं लगी है उसको हेल्प कर रहा है एंड देन सडनली दिस एक्टर मेरे अंदर जागा कुछ आई शुड आस्क सम क्वेश्चंस ask क्या है क्या स्टोरी है कौन है and I went out to speak to one ADD who I had met previous day and he was talking to some tall guy in a cap. I was like मेरे को कुछ पूछना था just give me 2 minutes I'm just talking. Yeah, that person the other person turned and said hi I'm Ranveer. See this tall guy with a beard and a cap. I said Amol. I just left. And then the AD came on flustered. He said क्या हुआ यार मैं आ रहा हूँ ना 2 मिनट में क्या हो गया I said, no, I just wanted to know what's happening. Like, I said, हाँ, तू कर वो याद lines याद कर लेना. Ranveer is learning his lines, so we'll just after he's ready, we'll just shoot. I said, Ranveer is learning his lines. I said, yeah, the Harry character that's Ranveer. I said, oh, acha. So then he told me there's a film and this thing, and then I see Shimran is there, and there's some important looking people. They're all coming to check me out also. People are just speaking. Like, something is happening. And then जो मेरा कॉन्फिडेंस था वो थोड़ा सा चला गया. सो जो मैंने पिछले दिन जो मैंने सीन किया था कि क्या कर रहा है यार तू फेल हो गया तो क्या कर रहा है यार तू फेल हो गया the power equation has changed in the scene naturally so and then it's always they show in films that you are dazed and things are happening in front of you don't know what's happening and he's coming in you're reading a scene with him they are laughing at something I've said I am laughing at something they've said they're talking about Delhi and actors and he do it like this, do it like that. They've shot it good. Okay, see you. Bye. I've left. I called that guy at the AD. I said, I think you should do this again because I have no idea what that. I was just like, so why didn't you tell me? He said, no, I didn't want to tell you because I would have told you one day back then. फिर तू रात भर सोचता. फिर उसका कोई मतलब नहीं. अभी जो तूने किया है वो अच्छा किया है. वो मैं तेरे को बताऊंगा मैं तेरे को कॉल करूंगा. Then they called me the next day or the day after that. This was first. Audition was on Saturday, second shortlisted was on Sunday. Next Saturday I was on set, on a Yash Raj set and in those 4-5 days there was a hair and the clothes and the look trial, makeup trial, glasses, somebody's making you wear a shirt, somebody's tying your shoelace. What's happening? You don't have to do anything. What a great job. And it was very sweet. I think it was a nice set, calm set, organized set. And this I'm saying in retrospect, because then I went to other sets.
Then you saw other sets.
Then I saw other sets. Oh, ऐसे बनती हैं फिल्में. Oh, ये हो रहा है, लोग faint हो रहे हैं, लोग चिल्ला रहे हैं, उसमें गाली गलौज चल रहा है, मार पिटाई चल रही है. ये सब. And I think mostly percolates from the top. So mostly it's the director's personality that the set assumes that personality. Because there's a lot of shouting on the top, then
that shouting
वो चिल्लाता है, वो वैसा होता है. And or how pre-planned the set is and कितना planning है, कितना नहीं है, or it's more like instinctive. So चल रहा है, instinctive चल रहा है, everybody's running around. So that was a very calm, at least on the days I shot, very sorted, quiet set. It's a shot, so you're also pampered a little bit. So, no, this is a good job. And you think you're getting paid decently, man. Of course, later you realize the कहाँ तक जाती है बात. But at that time, like, this is much more than theatre. And I'm in a film. And then I go back to Delhi or wherever. I am the opening frame of the trailer. And I'm sitting in that bar outside of IIT where we've been drinking all through college. And suddenly I'm sitting in that bar and I'm on TV. On the same TV that we've been seeing for 4 years while we were sitting here. So it was quite surreal. कि ये हो रहा है. This is happening to me. And I let these things happen to me for 2-3 years before I decided to be an actor.
Okay.
So that's when I decided.
So at some point you said that, okay, this is happening often enough for me to make this
now must take a call. I had a conversation with myself saying, अब क्या करना है? हो गया, पेट भर गया, मजा हो गया, या फिर यही है अभी आगे. And then I think that the day you have that conversation is your first day of starting to feel disappointed. Because before that day, everything's a bonus. I'm in a film, ha ha ha. I'm in an ad, ho ho. I'm in TV, oh, fun. Now it's like, I didn't get that ad, I didn't get that film, I wanted this, I wanted that. Second again. Because you wanted to come first. When you didn't want to come anything.
It was all happening by accident.
इतने number आए हैं मेरे, मुझे नहीं फर्क पड़ रहा कौन कहाँ पे किसको क्या मिल रहा है. But then when you decide that this is what I want to do and I want these things, when you want that part in the film, when you want that ad, is when you open yourself up to disappointments.
Do you recommend it to the kids all over the country who want to be actors? Do you recommend coming to Mumbai?
I won't be the person to say no. Because when I was making my way through, and I'm still making my way through, I didn't like the people who said, don't do this.
Were there people who said, don't do this to you?
You were like, क्यों कर रहे हो यार? क्या IIT जाओ, कहाँ फंसे हो, क्या है ये सब? This is not the place for you, and maybe rightly so from their experiences. Yeah, or somebody said, you're a good writer. You write, you do this, up director. क्या body बनाना पड़ेगा कुछ ये. There were also different templates of what an actor is supposed to look like or be like or behave like. They said, अब थोड़ा hair style change करो यार. तुम हर जगह shirt और t-shirt पहन के आ जाते हो. नया style लाओ. This is all. Every person you meet is a new opinion, and this is something I told then my another college friend, IIT friend, who moved to Bombay after me. And this is my warning. So every person you meet is going to give you an opinion, especially right now because you've just come. I'm going to introduce you as a friend who's just come to Bombay, and somebody's like, सुनो, मैं बताता हूँ कैसे होता है. तुम ना पहले assistant director बनो, फिर वहाँ से वो बनो, फिर वहाँ से दोस्ती कर लो, फिर acting कर लो. So everybody has their own algorithms. But I didn't. When people used to tell me don't do this, I used to be like, I'll show you. So I try not to be that person.
Was there a moment in the last few years where you were like, I showed them?
Just a few months back, a little bit. But not in terms of people who said don't be an actor, but as I've now said a couple of times in a couple of places, that like one of my most important projects of my life, tripling, and the character Chitwan, there was some conversation about whether Amol is the right person. Not that Amol is not a good actor, but is he the right person for this part? And at that time, I couldn't fight it. That notion. I thought I just said, please don't take it away from me. I will do my best. I will do my best. I will try and prove that I'm worthy of this part and this character in this show. And unexpectedly, third season came out is not the unexpected part, but when the third season came out and the screening was happening, and suddenly you feel a certain reaction in the audience, and maybe there was a suppressed feeling in me that just came out. This was the circle being completed, and I only felt it after 3 seasons. Like, I didn't have the confidence to go up there and say, I own this now. Now I know I own this. I have the confidence to say I own this. I own this character. I own the world that we have created with this character, the legacy that it has, the lives that it has touched, the emotions that it has evoked in people. And I wanted to give a speech about it, and I choked up and I couldn't finish my speech. But it was just that, somebody showing trust in you and your faith in yourself. Yeah, मुझे मेरे में faith है, मैं करूँगा. And then somebody, in that case TVF, Aruna was saying, "Acha, you believe in yourself, chal, I believe in you." And then it took me 3 seasons to confidently say, मैंने बोला था. I told you I will do this, and I think now I can confidently say that I have done this. Award मिले तब ये feel नहीं हुआ second season में या first season में when fans were loving तब feel हुआ. For some reason in that third season screening I felt that कि ये मैंने कर दिया, अब मैं बोल सकता.
So for me, the one that I love the most is the Bhagat Singh that you did at Sardar Udham. There was something. It was unlike any of the previous
Bhagat Singh
portrayals. Yeah. And there was something very textural about it. How did you get there?
I have no idea.
No, because you must have at some point sat up in the night saying, "Dude, I'm playing Bhagat Singh.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with this?"
I was very surprised. I was nervous. That chatter, you said, कि एक वो chatter चल रहा था कि बहुत गाली पड़ने वाली है. There is a voice saying, क्या कर रहा है? This character and this person comes with a lot of baggage. There is emotions attached to this figure. There are songs and bhajans about him in parts of the country. And if there is anything that goes wrong or off the line, and सबको लगता है कि actor ही सब कुछ कर रहा है, so the actor पे attack करते हैं. But at the same time, I was excited because I met the makers, I met Shujit sir, and he's a very unassuming kind of person. I like, there's you are confident, but you don't carry the baggage of who you are and what you've done with your personality.
Okay.
कि मुझसे ऐसे बात करो, मैं ये हूँ. So there was honesty and there was eagerness and there was excitement, and the first thing he said was कि तूने जो भगत सिंह देखा तू भूल जा. Okay. Because that's what's also bothering you. You've seen Ajay Devgan, you've enjoyed, you've danced in the theatre, legend Bhagat Singh and Bobby Deol and so on and so on. मुझे क्यों ले लिया ये रोले? But he said कि यार बस जो तू है मेरे को वही करना है. कुछ don't go home and start thinking of those films and those Bhagat Singhs that you've seen, because what we are going to do and what we're going to try and do is you and me are going to create this together with the text available. So we are going to interpret it independently of
what has been done up to
interpretations so far. And that was, of course, first time में तो मुझे थोड़ा काम हुआ कि अच्छा वो नहीं सोचना है, वो नहीं करना है. And how he spoke about the character, the clarity that he had, and then the things I read, I just try to follow that and keep it simple. And he keeps it simple as a filmmaker also. I spoke to Vicky. I called Vicky. I said, Vicky, and he was also very excited. He said, "Oh, I heard you're doing this. बहुत मजा आएगा भाई, बहुत मजा आएगा." So I'm थोड़ा nervous हो रहा है अभी, पता नहीं क्या. बोलता है पता भी नहीं चलता है, पता है shoot होता है, पता भी नहीं चलता है. And I thought this is just a sentence. And literally when I shot my first scene, मुझे पता ही नहीं चला shoot होता. He's like, हाँ, we're rehearsing, हाँ, you're there, हाँ, you do this, हाँ, you talk to him, you stand there, look there, हाँ, drink करो, ये करो, वो करो, खाना खाओ, speech बोलो. चलो, done, change. I said, what happened? He said, I shot it now. One camera here, one camera there. I was holding one. So it was very unassuming. And again, a very different kind of film set. The production design is great. The costume, sometimes just that helps you. You see yourself in the mirror, you're like, wow, this is another person. You know, you start feeling like another character. And you've been reading about him, you've been reading of him, the things that he has written you're reading, and that's playing in your head, and then what the makers are saying, the scenes you're reading, you walk into that set, the production design, it's like you walked into like 100 years ago, and again a very interesting set which is not very common is that when you enter the set as an actor, there's no one else except the director. Usually you have one guy fixing the chair, one guy fixing the light, ऊपर से लगा, नीचे लगा, ये.
You're aware of those many humans.
There is activity around it. In this case, mostly that has been done. So when you walk onto the set, you can only hear the voice of your director and the cameraman, and that's all. It's like 5 people and we are discussing. अभी हम क्या करें? अब यहाँ तू बैठेगा, यहाँ बैठेगा. There's nothing. So it's very immersive. Like it helps. I realize how much it helps because suddenly there's no distraction. You enter that scene and you're in that scene with these 3 people and we're creating this scene. All the other logistics are done. There's no one trying to fix something here and that thing here. And it's been done. So it's almost like theatre. And you can immerse yourself in that moment. It keeps it very real. And he breathes like real. He said, these are boys. These are 21-year-old boys. And when you read them, you read about them, it actually reads like that. They sound like they're very well read, very passionate, very clear, very charming. And which is why as a 21-year-old, you have 50-year-olds listening to you. Even in the film, Vicky goes to London and they're like, Bhagat Singh ne kya bola? Who is Bhagat Singh? A 21-year-old boy. These are men in England who say Bhagat Singh. वो क्या सोच रहा है वो? उसके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है? वो क्या चल रहा है? Because you earned a reputation, and rightly so, of being a very smart, very persuasive, very well-read and very evolved person. तो वो 21 साल का नहीं है. वो age has stopped mattering for people. तो 5 साल के बच्चे भी उसके फैन हैं और 50 साल के लोग भी सुन रहे हैं कि भगत सिंह क्या चाहता है, भगत सिंह क्या सोच रहा है. And that's...
When you saw it on screen, what was that like?
I was stunned. I was stunned by the film because I had shot for 6-7 days. I had heard about scenes. He'd shown me some pictures. Vicky's look, 19-year-old. Looks nice, very real, that beard. I heard Jallianwala Bagh shoot hua hai, bahut acha shoot. You formed certain visuals in your head, but that film surpassed those visuals. I was like, ये क्या है? ये क्या मैं देख रहा हूँ? I saw it in this crew screening. I was just stunned. I forgot that I was in the film. Or it was about me. Why am I here? I was just stunned by the craft of what I was watching, and the very smart filmmaking also. You're saying the things you want to say in the way you want to say them, without just being smart about it or crafty about it. So I was quite certain. I was proud कि हाँ ये चीज़ में मेरा नाम भी attached है. This goes in my resume. This goes in my IMDb list forever. I'm a part of this. I'm very happy.
What's the path forward now? Do you say, "Arey, I want to be now. I want to do like a big ticket film. I want Adi Chopra to call me."
Why not?
Or
I'm waiting.
Are you just like, going with the flow?
Flow में तो जाना ही पड़ता है because you can only hope as an actor. You can't. There's also like one downside of you can manifest. I'm still getting onto that bandwagon of manifest कर दूँगा या affirmation. I'm still analyzing those things. I'm still like मैं पहले पढ़ूँगा, मैं पहले सोचूँगा इसके बारे में. Then I will join this. But you do hope but you can only hope. Like I said, as an actor, you can't make it happen. I can't write a script and get Adi Chopra on board. He has to have something and he will get me on board if he wants to. So you have to wait for it. You have to just be ready for it. और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा आप थोड़ी probability बढ़ा सकते हो कि मैं कैसे the makers I want to work with somehow reach out and give one little knock and I'm not very good at that also. Not good or bad, but I'm not very aggressive with that. Like I'll err on the side of caution and safety. Not come across as somebody who's like too aggressive, too overbearing. तो वो थोड़ा सा है. और अब मैं जैसे जैसे बड़ा हो रहा हूँ मैं बोल देता हूँ. अब मैं कॉन्फिडेंटली बोल देता हूँ. अब तो you know something's happening in your life, you also start thinking about mortality for example.
Yeah.
एंड मैं ऐसा मजाक में बोलता हूँ यार मर जाएंगे, काम कब करेंगे साथ में. अभी क्या बोल रहा है सर, कितना अभी 20 साल 15 साल निकल गए, 15 साल और निकल जाएंगे ब्रो. वी हैव टू वर्क टुगेदर. अरे हाँ करेंगे 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 ऐसे नहीं ब्रो. लाइफ ऐसी निकल जाती है, हम सोचते हैं करेंगे करेंगे करेंगे. सो एंड इट इज अ जोक एंड द अदर पर्सन laughs but also feels like but it is a true emotion there. Here I want to work with you. I have been shy about it. I have not said it, but now I'm saying it because we're all gonna die very soon. And we will die without making that film that we can make together, or doing that thing that we can do together. And it is a true emotion. I don't say it to everyone. I say it to the people I mean to say it to. So at least I can say I'm being honest. I'm not. This is not just a thing I'm saying for style or effect. I say it. I went to parties that in his wedding party, 1-2 people. I was drunk. I was like, oh, मर जाएंगे. ऐसे क्या बोल रहा है, क्यों क्या हो गया? ऐसे नहीं मतलब eventually. You're gonna die.
If you don't work fast enough.
Yeah, we have to make this happen. If you want to work with me, I want to work with you. Let's make this happen before we die. We don't have another life to make it happen. Like, अरे करेंगे bro, ऐसे क्यों बातें कर रहा है ऐसे? So that I am now in my life at a point where I'm starting to approach and say this out loud कि करते हैं. पहले मुझे था कि नहीं यार, जो सोचेगा मैं डिजर्व करता हूँ वही मुझे मिलेगा.
It's meant to be. It will come to me.
It will happen. And जो होगा अपने आप होगा. But नहीं अभी मैं मुँह पे बोल रहा हूँ. तो so that's the max I can do. I can show interest. And then the script has to come about the right. It has to be the right script. I have to fit in it. They have to want me. I have to be free. They have to be free.
Yeah,
a lot of things have to fall into place.
Yeah.
So you hope कि हो.
I wish you very, very good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you for speaking.